2007 was a strange year in my life. I was halfway through the hellish realm called junior high. Michael Bay had just unleashed his version of Transformers onto the world, and Cartoon Network did some weird things. One of the biggest events of the year occurred in May, a massive crossover event that linked 5 starkly different series in an unforgettable event that hadn't been done before and definitely hasn't been done since. TV has changed a lot since then, so crossovers don't happen very often anymore. So, to celebrate its 15th anniversary, I'm releasing a review for each part of the special 15 years after each originally premiered. So, without further ado, let's begin with part 1 of the Cartoon Network Invaded special.
What do you even think?
Part 1. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Season 5, Episode 1, called Cheese A Go-Go. So just a quick review, kind of an overview of my opinion of Foster's as a show. It was great. It was a great show. It had great characters, a great story, and influenced me a lot. Now the background's out of the way, let's get to the actual episode. So immediately the tone is very hectic, with Frankie in the post office and just on the phone with her grandma. You just know that it's a typical life for Frankie, and it never slows down for her, unfortunately. And then, oh boy, Cheese is introduced. And I really liked Cheese as a kid, but when you watch him as an adult, Cheese is annoying. And of course, he's in this episode a lot, so enjoy, I guess. And you hear him saying that he needs to go somewhere through the whole episode, and you never find out where he needs to go. So it's like, what was the point of all that? I guess to start off the special, but you know. So, throughout this special, through all 5 parts, there are all these little references to the other shows and the other episodes in them. In this one, it's when Blue's watching the movie in the movie theater. It foreshadows the Camp Lazlo episode where Samson's getting tortured by the aliens. I love little nods and references like that. And when you watch this the first time, you don't know that it's referencing anything, but then after you've seen all of them and you're rewatching it, you get a little chuckle out of each of these little things that they put in here. And just a quick question, did Blue sneak into this movie? Because if not, how did he afford to go? Because he's like broke constantly. I just don't know how he affords anything. And when Blue is on the bus and he's reading the magazine, if you look in the cover there, it references One False Movie, an earlier episode where he and Mac make a movie. Shows Wilt's design when he plays the werewolf. That was a fun little Easter egg just for the show. So, I mean, the magazine references that, and then it also fuels Blue's paranoia by showing the aliens that just so coincidentally look like cheese. Oh, and the dentist office. This is a fun scene. Eduardo and anesthesia is a priceless thing. Not anything I ever would have thought of. Man, it's funny. Also, it begs the question, do imaginary friends have dental insurance? Like that, you know, the more you think about this world, the less it makes sense, so I'm just going to move on. And it would be a funny coincidence if later on, when the aliens were shown in the crossover, that they actually looked like cheese. So maybe it's like a Men in Black thing where the magazine is actually right. That would have been funny, I thought. Or if they did the designs that they eventually did, but if the cheese things, like the cheese-looking characters, were disguises they wore. I think that'd be funny too, but not a wasted opportunity, just an observation. Oh man, I love Jackie Cohn so much as a character. Every episode he shows up in, it's always a laugh. And this court case is pretty funny. I just came up with Cones versus Foster, Dawn of the Tuna Sandwich. And if you look really closely, I didn't notice this until the last time I watched this, but Fred Burger is actually in the courtroom in the background. I had to like rewind it to see if I was seeing things, but no, he's actually there. So that's another little cool cameo I didn't even know about. Oh, Frankie, why did you leave Blue alone with people like that? Don't give him anything to do. He's only gonna mess it up. Like, at best, he's gonna let them all escape. At worst, he's gonna doom the entire planet by causing an alien invasion. Oh, spoilers, I guess. Anyways. Okay, so this Madge character that's behind the desk, it's Grey Delisle doing the voice, and she's literally doing the exact voice she does as Mrs. Warthog in My Gym Partner's a Monkey. I mean, I don't know if that was an intentional reference or not, but that's just really funny how similar they sound. And then, as usual, Blue is causing a bunch of chaos and nonsense for no good reason. I mean, he's paranoid, but, you know, he's making everybody else paranoid. He's not helping. And the part that I always forget until I watch this episode is the hobo. Like, what a funny, weird, out there side character just to throw into this episode. And you'd think that if it would have been like an alien episode, he would be saying that he's seen aliens or something. But no, he's just there. Just be awkward and funny. I mean, he's good at it. It's just, I don't know. I would have thought he would have tied into the alien thing somehow. And this is an episode where everyone ends up in jail at the end. And that's not the first time this has happened in the series, which is pretty funny when you look at it that way. And no matter how many years go by, a Napoleon Dynamite reference is going to make me laugh. And then you think, wait a second, was Blue right? So, like, the invasion begins, but he caused it. So is that like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing? And another thing I forgot about Foster's is they have the after credits scenes, and well, Frankie finally learns her lesson to just let Cheese go on with his nonsense.
Residents of Peach Creek remain vigilant. Unidentified flying objects have been spotted in your area.
Let's make a break for it!
Stay indoors and out of the cul-de-sac. It's Cartoon Network Invaded with Ed, and Eddie. Next Friday at 7 on Cartoon Network.
Nope, we're not doing that now. So, quick review. I spent an entire year reviewing this show. Obviously, I love it. But now let's get to the matter at hand. This is Ed, and Eddie, special number 4. The Eds are coming. The Eds are coming. We have reached the final Fool's Paradise review. So first off, I love the weird dream world opening in this episode. Just seeing all of Jimmy's fantasies coming to life is really interesting. And Mr. Sun, this character is voiced by the series creator, Danny Antonucci. Always really cool when creators do stuff like that. And Jimmy being the POV character was such an interesting idea, and this is one of his best appearances. I gotta admit, buzzsaws falling from the sky is a terrifying visual, and the sound design is intense. And PTSD from a dream is a terrifying concept. And this part here is interesting because Johnny foreshadows the plot of the Lost episode with the dance. This is one of the only times in the series, it may be the only time, that an episode actually foreshadows something that happens in a later episode, because the show didn't have a lot of continuity between the episodes. And this episode is set in winter like what Season 6 was supposed to be, which I'm a sucker for winter settings, so that's always a plus for me. And Johnny being the one to come into contact with the aliens first is cool because nobody takes him seriously. Because everybody views Johnny as the weirdo in the neighborhood anyway, so nobody would ever believe him if he was actually telling the truth. And then you see the note that Ed is helping Rolf like he has in the past, which that's a neat little callback to other episodes and makes you think, well, maybe something normal's going on, but all the atmosphere and everything's making you think something else. And then we gotta talk about the meteor impact, because like every single part of this, from it launching out of Rolf's house and then crashing in the playground, creating this giant shockwave, is super cool. And then when they get to the actual meteor, there's all this ambient sound coming from it that it just sounds otherworldly.
What in heaven's name is that?
Whatever it is, it reeks.
So, I mean, Ed, Edd n Eddy's always had great sound design, but this episode is amazing with the horror elements they use. And then it turns out Squeaky Swing gets the oil. I always heard it was Wheel, but maybe it's different in their universe. And then we have Ed acting as a second unreliable narrator, which is kind of funny that we had an unreliable narrator with Johnny, and if you think about it, Jimmy too, because he thinks that everything's going like his dream. So this episode's full of unreliable narrator characters. And the situation gets so dire that Double D actually goes to Ed's house and researches his comics to see what exactly is going on, see if there's anything similar in them to what's happening now. And he finds an interesting correlation between them and what's really happening in their world, which that kind of ties into the whole magazine thing from the first episode. So maybe they did end up using that idea after all. And when it's a crisis situation like this, they think it's like an apocalyptic thing happening. It's cool that Kevin takes charge because, I mean, he just has that kind of personality that it makes sense that he would be the one to do that.
Jimmy, curlers don't count as weapons.
And he has an inspirational speech.
Alright, listen up. These space dweebs made a big mistake invading our neighborhood and taking our pal. What say we give him a good old Beach Creek welcome?
But it's short, sweet, cool, and then straight into the action. So don't waste any time with it. Just, say what needs to be said and move on. And I absolutely love the green coloration of the alien aura around Rolf's house. It's really haunting. It just sticks out so well compared to the rest of the environment.
Watch my back flank. Let's dance, baby! those up.
You guys are useless!
And when Naz is tied up there, it's like a reference to Anne from King Kong. I love little references like that. Okay, and then when the door opens and what you think you're seeing is an alien coming out, this is hinting that the actual aliens actually look like an octopus, sort of. So that's a nice little bit of foreshadowing there. But then the revelation that it's Rolf's family being there and visiting him, and they're the so-called aliens, that's a brilliant twist. And I mean, Rolf's a weird person, so like all these people coming from his culture and everything, they would feel very alien to us whenever they showed up unannounced like that. It's just a funny idea that they, Ed, Edd n Eddy's still a comedy at the end of the day, so they still got to do the comedic misunderstandings and that kind of thing. So I was like, okay, that's a fun idea. That's a fun ending to the episode. But it isn't the ending to the episode. Because then it pans out, and you realize Jimmy's dream was right. The aliens did come. They have taken the cul-de-sac, and they're flying away from Earth with it right now. The first time I saw this, my jaw was on the floor because I did not expect them to actually do it. I thought it was just going to be just a cop-out, just Jimmy being paranoid. Nope, they straight up did it. And I love it. It's such a cool idea. And I hope that Danny Antonucci and his team, like everybody involved with Ed, Edd n Eddy, I hope they do something horror-related in the future. Because between this episode, the power outage episode, and certain scenes in the Ed, Edd n Eddy movie, they're so good at like sound mixing and creating atmosphere. They would be amazing at doing something horror related. So all in all, I love this episode. It's one of my favorite Ed, Edd n Eddy episodes, and I'm kind of glad that it was my last Wolf's Paradise video because it's a high note to go out on. So stay tuned to the channel. We'll be doing part 3 next week, and I hope to see you then. Part 3. My Gym Partner's a Monkey, Season 3, Episode 5, That Darn Platypus. So, quick review. I loved this show as a kid, but after watching it as an adult, I just like it the more and more times I watch it. Because I may not have ever said this, but I was a teacher's kid, so this show is a brutally honest view into school administration and everything that goes on behind the scenes. So I get an extra laugh out of that. But anyways, on to the actual episode. So we see the billboard mistake that PF and Mandrill just leave it there. Just welcome space aliens. I love this show's sense of humor.
Does that say welcome special species, alumni, and friends? If I say yes, can we have pie? Absolutely. Yes.
And then the power outage happens, and all the food in the freezer is melting. So they're back there eating it. It's like in Jurassic Park when that happens, and John Hammond is eating all the ice cream because of everything just melting. And then Jake is being paranoid, which isn't necessarily unusual for him, but him being paranoid about aliens is actually justified this time. And then Windsor brings up the magazine, and it references the cul-de-sac kids being kidnapped. Yeah, here they go again with all the little references to the other episodes. I love that stuff.
Did scientific journal? Or was it on a hipster's ironic t-shirt?
Okay, wait a minute. How long have ironic hipsters existed? Let me do a little research for a second. The 1990s and 2000s? Son of a bitch, I learned something new every day. Thanks, Windsor. Okay, and just in the comments, let me know how you say this, because apparently both ways are correct. Is it platypuses or platypi? But anyway, the important thing is, these things are some of my favorite animals in the animal kingdom. So when Rick Platypus showed up, I immediately liked him just because he's a platypus.
Is it me or just my pretty face?
And, well, there's a little bit of an elephant in the room with this episode. I'll address it in a little bit. But I'm just going to say it. Gilbert Gottfried was perfectly cast as this character. And I know some people think Rick is really annoying in this, but I personally don't think he's any more annoying than Cheese or Fred Fredburger. And I mean, with him, it's at least he's just a one-off character, so you don't see him again after this. With Cheese and Fred Fredburger, you're just stuck with them once they're introduced in those shows. They just keep coming up again and again. Then Principal Pixie Frog is speaking facts.
Now, kids, just because someone has an abnormal appearance or a bad sense of humor doesn't make them an alien from outer space. I mean, look around. This place is crawling with weirdos.
Hello, how's your trousers?
Come to think of it, maybe I'll just mosey back to my office and run some background checks.
And he proceeds to run background checks on all of his students, because of course he does.
Lion's clean. We got his whole history right here. What a read!
And what about Sugar Jumper? I mean, what is a Sugar Jumper anyway? I've heard of a sugar glider, but never a sugar jumper.
Well, he's not an alien, if that's what you're getting at. But trust me, you don't want to look at his file. It's creepy. I've never gone this many hours without playing computer solitaire, and it's making me itchy.
And then you see Rick's message here. It says 3 days until full moon. That's foreshadowing the climax of the crossover, which is in the Billy and Mandy episode. That's pretty cool. I didn't think about that the first time watching these, but that's clever foreshadowing there. Okay, what Rick says this is me every time I try to swim.
This liquid substance fixes me!
And that alone is just funny, that a platypus not being able to swim is a pretty funny idea. Oh, that's interesting. The Spiffies are both dungeon masters and Trekkies. They are truly Sigma nerds. And PF was a centerfold back in the day. We're sure this is a kid's show, right? Okay, and then, yeah, David Coppertrout is a great side character. Every time he shows up, he's always makes me laugh. And he's a welcome addition to this episode, too. It's kind of funny that Jake and all Adam's friends just steal Phineas's particle decelerator, which is cool that they brought that back, because that was in a few episodes later, or a few episodes earlier. And then, makes sense, get a laser weapon that the super genius made to fight the aliens. And then, I'll admit, as a kid, I didn't watch Star Trek, so I didn't understand that Phineas, whenever he's blinded right here, he's doing a Shatner impression.
Mister, Hammy, I'm blind.
Now that I've seen some of Star Trek and I watch that always makes me laugh now. And then we get to the big twist of the episode.
It's okay, I'll stop pretending.
Good, cuz...
Rick is actually an alien. And this is a brilliant twist. Like, it's the inverse of what the Ed, Edd n Eddy episode did. Where, with that episode, makes you think, oh, this whole thing's just going to be a fake out, you know, and then, well, spoilers, then they figured out that the aliens, the audience figured out the aliens actually were real at the end of that episode. So, it's kind of cool if they go back and forth and with these two episodes. And yeah, elephant in the room. I'll say it. I really miss Gilbert Gottfried. Everything he was in, he was great, and yeah, I loved him in this episode, just like everything else, and I'm sorry that he's gone, but I'm happy that he's at peace now. So, thank you, Gilbert, for everything you gave us, all the laughs over the years, and thanks again. Part 4. The Camp Lazlo episode, Season 4, Episode 1, Part A and B, Strange Trout from Outer Space, and Cheese Orbs. So, quick review. I loved Camp Lazlo as a kid. I still love it to this day. And I actually make it a point to rewatch it once a year because I have so many good memories with this show. So, since this one's a little bit different, we'll just do it one episode at a time. Just because they actually split it into 2 parts, which makes it unique among all these episodes. So, Part A, this is the part in Camp Kidney, so we'll go with that first. So, Samson is the POV character in this episode, which is interesting. This isn't the first time he's been the POV character, like he's had his own episodes and everything. I always liked Samson as a character, even though I know he's kind of whiny and annoying, but it just, he's one of those people that just has bad luck all the time. And the bad luck continues in this episode. Because, fun bit of continuity, the ship that shows up over the lake, it's at least the same ship design as the one that appeared in the Ed, Edd n Eddy episode. So they're trying to keep a little bit of continuity between everything. And then whenever the aliens actually come out of their suit thing and start talking to him, which that was surprising to me, is that one was actually 3 different aliens. That's kind of a cool idea. But one of them is voiced by Jeff Bennett, who is also the voice actor for Samson. So it's Jeff Bennett talking to himself in this scene. And that actually happens a lot in Camp Lazlo because he voices Raj too. And there's a few episodes where he and Samson have a lot of conversation. Yeah, Jeff Bennett's one of my favorite actors. He's a talented guy. He could do just about anything.
We are aliens!
What do you want? Are you gonna suck my brain out?
We want cheese!
Also, a funny thing I noticed with this watch of it, I never noticed it before, but the aliens, they actually call themselves aliens. Which, I don't know if that actually makes sense or not, because, if I go to another country or something, I would call myself an American, but, it just feels weird that, just because they're alien to our planet, I don't think they would acknowledge that they are aliens, because to them, we're the alien planet. I'm probably overthinking it. I just thought that was kind of a funny thing that they did. And talking about other, random things, the aliens on their ship having an old-timey jukebox just there to play music. that's a funny idea. I'm assuming they just like took it from Earth at some point in the past, but yeah. And then them loving fiddle music and dancing to it. The show is very bizarre, and I love the little bits of humor like this. This is the scene that is foreshadowed in the movie in the Foster's episode. This is the scene like that they were referencing with the visuals. So once you've watched it a couple times, you'll catch on to things like that. Oh man, Samson, you picked the absolute worst day to wear a Speedo. Not saying there's ever a good day to wear one, but you really picked the wrong one this time. Oh, and Edward's in this episode too. He's not in it much, but he's one of my favorite characters in this show. Him just roasting Samson for no reason is hilarious.
Let's just use this rock instead. There. Just as good. No, wait. It's missing something. There. Even better.
Cause we just got 3 new campers today. They're Canadians. Ah! They're not Canadians. They're aliens. No, I'm pretty sure they're Canadians.
Sweet. There you go, eh?
No, they're aliens and they're here to steal our cheese. You guys believe me, don't you?
Sure, I believe you. Just like the time you said you could dunk a basketball, or the time you said the turtle-ass toilet in the latrine doubled as a time machine, but only you know how to use it.
I tried it. Didn't work.
Oh, you are gonna be so sorry when I prove that they are too aliens. And the truth, why doesn't anyone believe me?
Hey, Samson! We believe you!
You do?
Yeah, there's no way those guys are campers.
Seriously?
Yeah!
Oh, finally, my suspicions validated.
Steaming saffron! You think it makes any difference that those vague background characters believe you? Surely you can do better than that, Samson!
And the fact that Raj actually calls these 3 vague background characters. Oh, just little bits of meta humor like that are great. And with this episode, they're kind of going into the theme that they did in the My Gym Partner's a Monkey and the Ed, Ed and Eddie episode too, about the mistaken identity and the alien invasion thing happening. But this one's still unique because this is, I think, well, I guess technically in the first episode, the aliens say they're coming for cheese. And this is the first time since then that they brought that up, that they're actually after cheese. So Samson thinks that the Trout are the aliens, but they're actually just cheese thieves. They just steal cheese and leave. That was pretty funny. And then the revelation that the vague background characters are the aliens in disguise. That's really a fun and unique way. They kind of did both with the two episodes before this did. They kind of did a mixture of both with this one. Makes me concerned though. I hope Harold's okay. He's a cool character. I hope they just, took his identity. They didn't actually do anything to him. And then we get into the really interesting part of this where this half of the episode ends and they go to Acorn Flats with the Squirrel Scouts for part 2, which is really cool. Like, if they were going to do an Invaded special, I'd want them to involve the entire cast if they could, and found a way to do it, which was pretty cool. And I feel really bad for Patsy in this episode when it's revealed that she's allergic to cheese. I mean, but to be fair, we're all technically lactose intolerant, just to varying degrees. She just got the worst of it. And Nina is kind of the POV character in this, which is interesting. There's an episode or two in the show that she is the POV character, but it doesn't happen very often. And whenever she first meets the aliens, she's not freaked out because she's a sci-fi person like me. So she just thinks it's really cool that they're aliens, and she wants to befriend them and learn about them as much as she can. And this little joke is funny that the aliens don't understand what some words mean. So they think that board games are games that are designed for bored children. I love that. Little things like that.
Set your alarm and let us occupy ourselves.
She has odd Earthling games made for bored children.
I'm not sure what game this is, but I think I want to be the shoe.
And then the conflict comes in with Patsy and Gretchen. They have a realistic reaction to aliens. They're freaking out because, you probably would if you actually met an alien. And the trio's friendship being the central conflict of the episode, that's a smart idea, and it's heartwarming because, you watch the show, you know how close these three are. But then Patsy, makes such a big sacrifice for her. She eats all the cheese, and the way that ties all the plot lines together is actually pretty brilliant, I think. Or she comes in and pretends to be an alien just to get Nina's friendship back. That was pretty cool. I do love the lasers running gag in this, that they're just flashlights, but people think they're lasers.
How do we know you're an alien?
And then Jeff Bennett probably does the best performance in the entire episode when he finally loses it as the alien leader. And he gives the really threatening monologue to the citizens of Prickly Pines. And he's like, that's it. The invasion starts now. You haven't given us cheese. No going back. No more mercy. So I was like, okay, we're building up to something. We're actually going to see the invasion that's been teased for this whole crossover.
My patience has expired with this insolent blue planet. We have tried to be agreeable, but now they have left us no choice. Creatures of Earth, prepare yourself to suffer the wrath of our displeasure.
But just on a personal note, I think the idea of there being no more cheese is indeed much scarier than an alien invasion. So I think that the townsfolk reaction is 100% justified.
Folks, there's just a little bit of bad news. There is no cheese.
The time has come.
The signs are all around us.
There's no need to hide.
Let's make a break for it!
It's the Cartoon Network invaded event you've been waiting for.
No, they're aliens and they're here to steal our cheese!
Give us your cheese!
Catch all 4 invaded episodes back to back. And then it's the grand finale with a brand new episode of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Got it.
Monday night at 7 on Cartoon Network.
Alright, so we're here. Part 5, the epic finale of the invaded crossover. This is Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Season 6, Episode 8, Billy and Mandy Moon the Moon. Great title. Great title. So, quick review, my thoughts of Billy and Mandy as a whole. I wasn't allowed to watch this show as a kid, but I still snuck around and watched it anyway because I loved it. I just had to be careful about it. So, first thing, Harold is a Chad. Anybody who has watched this show knows this already, but Harold's a great character. And the opening title sequence and the music they have for it is really cool. I mean, Billy Mandy always has great music whenever it's doing stuff. I mean, they more than once collaborated with Voltaire, so you know they always produce something cool. And then aliens, you know, there's got to be crop circles somewhere. And one of the biggest surprises of this episode is that Spurg is actually the MVP of it. Which, you know, he's not much of a character. He just occasionally shows up, bullies somebody, and then leaves. But this episode actually gives a little bit of dimension to him, which is cool. But I do have some critiques of this episode, so here's one of them. Nobody could decide what the aliens were supposed to be. Like, first they were like robotic octopus-looking things, and then they realize that they're just octopus things with one eye that all like go into, like 3 of them go into each suit. It's just weird, like it's really inconsistent. It doesn't bother me much, I just wanted to make a mention of it. And then Gladys is as mentally unstable as ever. I mean, I can't blame her because the Grim Reaper literally lives in her house, so it's like literally staring death in the face every day would probably make everyone go a little crazy. Also, this is really random. I don't know like what spurred this exactly, but Billy's parrots just start making out in the background. I don't know, maybe because it's the apocalypse or something. They're like, just gotta make the most of the time you got left, but go them, I say. And I love this visual gag that there's a chip implanted in Billy's brain. It shows his brain and there's a potato chip in it. I mean, the aliens in this are so dumb, I could imagine them actually just putting a potato chip in someone's brain just because I thought it was funny. And the aliens seem to have a wedgie fetish, which is weird because of like what they did to Samson, and then they're doing it to Spurg and Billy in this too. But then Billy is revealed to secretly be a badass just like his dad. And then they bring his toy, Dr. Brainiac, to life, which is like, even in a show and an episode as weird as this just sticks out as being very weird. So it makes me wonder, are these aliens behind the toys in Toy Story? I don't know. There's a lot of Pixar theories that could be a fun one. And then, I don't know why they gave it to Spurg so bad. They put a bomb in the back of his head, and that's insanely dark for a kid's show. I mean, this is a very dark kid's show, but I was just like, a bomb, really? Like, that's really extreme. I mean, I didn't know that the aliens were like Amanda Waller, but I guess they are. So, despite that being really dark, it does have a funny payoff in the end of the episode that I'll get to in a little bit. So, this episode does call back to the superhero-themed episode. Billy becomes his superhero persona again. That's really cool that they did that. Grim does a fourth wall break that cracks me up every time.
Well, now what do? The Earth's dairy supply is in danger.
I don't know. Give me a few minutes to go to the bathroom and get some animal crackers, and I'll come up with something really cool. I promise. Come on, people. I need some privacy.
And then Sir Raven shows up. Every time he shows up, he's great.
Yes, here we go. Tragically, during the last commercial break, the Moon People spirited Billy, Mandy, Grim, and Spurg away to their home to do horrible things to them. The end.
When I'm moonbots finish their job tonight, the moon will be full, and every moon person will become a werewolf.
Snarling, foaming at the mouth, rip you limb from limb werewolves?
Yes, we must transform into werewolves so that we can conquer your planet and its stockpile of cheeses.
Got it.
Man, this is ridiculous. Alien werewolves. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's not actually. So, Moon Cheese Werewolf Gladiator Arena. Sure, why not?
You bore us. This is like watching soccer.
And Harold's confidence is an inspiration to men everywhere. Mariachi band thing, but oh, these aliens are so stupid. They'll fall for anything.
It's over, moon nerds. You've got 5 minutes to land this ship.
What will the outcome be if we deny your request?
I don't know why the alien king's voice, they just tried to make him the most ridiculous sounding possible. Which that always makes me laugh rewatching this. Then Mandy breaks the fourth wall, and then it's followed immediately by a Star Wars reference.
I programmed the moon-building robots to work twice as fast. So the ship will never make it to Earth before the full moon.
I never saw you reprogram any robots.
Of course you didn't. Do you know how boring it is for the audience to watch someone reprogramming a robot?
The show's very pop culture heavy, but I love it. And then Billy becomes a werewolf instead of Erwin this time. That's kind of funny. And then the biggest surprise of the episode, Spurg's in the closet there with Billy, and he just has this really inspirational speech moment to Billy as Billy is turning into a werewolf, and I don't think Spurg even notices this happening in the background.
And I was afraid of your way because you were different than me. And that scared me. But now I feel like I'm seeing you for the first time, Billy. The real you. And I'm not afraid. I'm really glad we've shared this moment. But I'm short on time, kiddo. Now you stay here. I know what I gotta do.
And then when Mandy and Grimm are cornered and they're actually, the aliens are getting ready to turn them into a sandwich and eat them, she actually shows fear, which that is actually pretty rare for her in this show because she's pretty close to fearless. But I mean, if you're thinking you're gonna die, it makes sense. And then Grimm makes a Masters of the Universe reference, which that's really funny.
All right, enough of this. By the power of the underworld, I have the power!
6 seconds to live, and now you decide to act?
What can I say? I love the drama.
And they all become superheroes, and there's a fight scene, so of course there's a 1960s Batman reference. And then Spurg sacrifices himself to kill all the aliens. I mean, sort of. It'll show in a minute what actually happened, but...
Birds, noble action saved the Earth from the flying saucer filled with alien werewolves.
Hurry up, Metalberry! I need that spitball! Hey!
One thing that's funny is that Billy's still a werewolf at the end. They just didn't even try to cure him or anything. Maybe he enjoys being a werewolf, so maybe they just left him alone. And then So Raven has a mental breakdown, and I mean, the guy's always been mentally unstable, so it was only a matter of time.
Nobody ever cares what happens to Sir Raven! Ever!
Then the end scene here with Dr. Brainiac is weird. I mean, it's not the end credits, but the right before it, that Dr. Brainiac, this references the very first episode of Frankie mailing everything. She mails to different characters in each show. Dr. Brainiac wasn't alive at that time. How would she have known to send him something? And then she sent him a sweater, and he hated it. So now he's going evil. And,
Sweaters! Earth must pay for this!
Warm up the plasmotonic disruptometers!
He's voiced by Waspinator from Transformers Animated. His Waspinator voice really comes out when he gets angry. So that was a lot of fun. And then we get to the end credits scene, and it's fun, but it raises so many questions. And there's actually a couple of different ones, different versions of this. But either way, it makes you think so much about like what was going on, and like just leaves you with more questions than answers. So now that's the last episode, so we're on to the conclusion. So all in all, 15 years later, I still really enjoy watching the Invaded crossover. And I highly encourage those who haven't seen it to watch it in full and draw your own conclusion on the individual episodes and the crossover as a whole. Despite my positive experience rewatching the crossover, I also have some criticisms and context to add to the discussion. The first incredibly noticeable thing is that the whole crossover idea is just shown in passing, as in there's no time in this crossover where these different characters from different series work together against the threat of the invasion. Billy, Mandy, Grimm, and Spurg basically decimate the aliens by themselves. The Foster's house, cul-de-sac kids, the CDMS students, and the denizens of Prickly Pines don't even show up in the finale to help out. If the threat was worldwide, you would think the whole world would rise up against the invasion. Another thing that I always thought was strange is the cheese connection between the episodes. For years I wondered why it was a running gag in this special. Nearly 2 years ago, I happened across that answer. Back in 2020, YouTuber Toonrific Tariq did a collaboration with multiple different YouTubers where they each reviewed a part of the special and compiled it into one video that I'll link in the description. Something that his research revealed was that there was supposed to be a sponsorship deal with Kraft Cheeses for the crossover that fell through during its production. When I heard this bit of trivia, it all clicked. So, thank you for all your hard work, Tariq. You answered an ages-old mystery for me. I do have my own take on how I would do the crossover event, which I could share at a later time if there's enough of an interest in it. But I've rattled on long enough about space aliens invading Cartoon Network characters for one video. So, I hope you enjoy this little trip down memory lane. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Hello friends, and welcome back to the Cartoon Network Invaded special. This is your host CBH, checking in with you. I know it's been 3 years since I uploaded this, but I had a little extra that I wanted to give you guys before I uploaded this full version. So I mentioned back then that I was going to do my own version of the Cartoon Network Invaded, just a slight rewrite and on my way, but I just thought, you know, if I'm going to do the compilation, I might as well throw this in there too as an extra treat for you guys. Okay, so looking back on the special, I do like all 5 parts, and I think it's overall okay. It just, the whole weakness of it is the crossover aspect, which is kind of just in passing, like I might have mentioned in the video previously. But my idea with the crossover would be to keep the 5 episodes that they did and only adapt a few things to fit in with the last part of what I would do. So I'm just going to go through my rewrite, what I would do with it, the little changes I would make, and then I'll get to the big thing that I would have added. But I'm not going to tell you what that is yet. I'm going to let it be a surprise. So here we go with episode 1. We have Cheese a Go-Go from Foster's. Basically, we're going to keep Blue and Cheese's antics. They're still going to be played for laughs. However, the tone's going to shift into something darker. Instead of just seeing the one UFO showing up at the end of the episode, it's revealed that many are actually hiding on Earth and that their infiltration has begun. So it's not like a literal, like, very, very last second reveal. It's like, it's not just like, oh, they're just now coming to Earth. It's like, oh, they've actually been here, hiding out, waiting for the right time to attack. So that's the only major change I would do to that episode. Now we move on to episode 2 of the crossover, which is The Eds Are Coming from Ed, Edd and Eddy. And overall, I really like the episode, so I'm going to keep Jimmy's dream being the catalyst for everyone's paranoia. That's really effective. But the big change I would do, I like how they did the Rolf's family bait and switch, where you thought that they were aliens and it was just his family. But I'm going to add to that, because it's revealed at the end of that episode that they all got kidnapped by the aliens, so you know that they get kidnapped at the end. But what I would change about it is it basically plays out, the episode plays out like the way it does, but then it's revealed, like you see the cul-de-sac taken away like that, but then it's revealed that the Rolf's family thing was actually just like a hallucination, all the kids were abducted and they're in hibernation pods, and that's just what they were seeing during the invasion. So it's like they got completely taken over and didn't even realize it because of that. So we'll move on to episode 3 of the crossover, That Darn Platypus from My Gym Partner's a Monkey. And now this is where we're going to start building a bit more into the crossover aspect, because there's little things in the episode itself that show, like the magazine bit, that strange things have been happening, but it's all kind of in the background. So what I do with this is that paranoia mounts and reports of disappearances from surrounding areas come in. Rick Platypus acts as an infiltrator, signaling the mothership's landing, which is kind of in the episode, but I would just make it more explicit that that's actually what's happening. Maybe not even reveal to the characters, just so the audience realizes what's happening. So the ship lands as the ground assault begins, and then at the end of the episode you'd see from space, you see all the aliens air spacecrafts have created a blockade around Earth. So people of Earth don't really understand the whole situation yet, but this is where you see the scope of it is worldwide, and it's all just really starting. Then we get to episode 4, which is the Strange Trout from Outer Space and Cheese Orbs from Camp Lazlo. So this episode keep mostly the same. The Samson's kidnapping goes like the original, with the trio of infiltrators acting as the antagonists. And then the cheese theft will occur, so the aliens move their efforts to Acorn Flats. The aliens manipulate Nina into bringing them to the cheese ball, only for it all to be eaten before they can be collected. So, yeah, that the plot basically is the same, but then the last part I'd put is whenever the alien snaps and gets angry, and in the original he just flies away in the saucer. He actually, the invasion starts in Prickly Pines. That's when they call in reinforcements and they take over. That's at the end of the episode. Then we go to episode 5 of the crossover, which is Billy and Mandy Moon the Moon from Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The original finale of the crossover, which I think is fine in and of itself. It wasn't a terrible way to go out. but I wanted to add some stuff in there, and then it'll lead to my last thing, the big reveal. So in this episode, the invasion begins in Ensville as Billy and Spurg are kidnapped, but they proved to be too much for the aliens to handle and they escaped. Mandy and Grimm decide to be proactive and mount an attack on the alien warship hovering above Ensville. So this one, like, one of the main differences is they don't get sent to the moon like it's all kind of earthbound in this episode. So then it goes pretty normally as Spurg sacrifices himself to topple the warship. And I'm not doing the whole alien werewolf thing. I mean, it was fine in that episode, but it just, I don't know, it's kind of too random for me. It didn't fit in with the plan that I had for the final part, so anyway. So after the warship is toppled, Billy, Mandy, and Grimm look on at a massive aerial and space battle occurring above them. And then an escort of gunships lands in front of them, and Kids Next Door operatives usher them on board. The K&D have been liberating prisoners of the aliens and are beginning a counterattack. Okay, now we get to the grand finale of my rewrites. We get to part 6, which is the final, and it's a secret episode of Codename Kids Next Door, Operation Orbit. So after the Kids Next Door are rescuing everybody that's been captured by the aliens, they're forming a counterattack. They're recruiting all of these other characters from the other shows, and they're just gonna use all the manpower they can to carry out this final attack. So this is going to be a 44-minute special like the Kids Next Door would do, where it's like 4 11-minute segments, so I broke it up that way. So I'll give you the rundown on the plot, and then I'll break it up into parts to show you what happens during each of them. So the aliens are about to unleash their final attack on the Earth. The stolen cheese acts as both a food source and a power source for a massive orbital cannon taking aim at the Earth. The Kids Next Door moon base mobilizes to destroy the cannon. Meanwhile, the combo squadrons battle the invasion force on Earth. Part 1 shows the resistance topple the orbital cannon. Part 2 shows that with their original plan having failed, the aliens activate their final plan, assimilating their attack force into a single entity on Earth, which I nicknamed the Beholder. The Beholder absorbs radiation reflecting from the moon to power up its optical blasts, and number 1 suggests that they implement Operation Alpha Omega. The operation was planned in response to Grandfather nearly taking over the planet. Reluctantly, the moon base agrees and activates the operation. Part 3 shows all the Treehouse's weapon systems link to each other and transform into mobile assault units. With the much larger number of troops, all the positions could be manned for the battle, and all the manned ships converge on the Beholder. They find that even with the firepower of every ship concentrated on the Beholder, the battle remains at a stalemate. In a last-ditch effort to win the battle, all of the ships combine into a colossal robot to take the fight directly to the Beholder. The superior shielding of the robot deflects the Beholder's attacks back at itself, and the Beholder is obliterated by the combination of ranged and physical assault. Then we move on to Part 4 for the final and the epilogue. Part 4 begins with all of the new allies working together to clean up and rebuild the damage from the invasion. The moon base decrees that all non-Kids Next Door operatives will be partially decommissioned to remove any memory of the operation taking place and any of the secrets that were shared during the invasion. And after witnessing number 1's outstanding leadership against the invasion, the Splinter Cell choose him to be their candidate to join the higher purpose. So my idea with this was looking at Kids Next Door, when this was airing, it was entering like its final season. The movie had just happened, and they were about to do the whole Splinter Cell arc in the final season, all leading up to Nigel joining the Galactic Kids Next Door. And I thought that, the alien invasion, tying that in with that, like as a prequel to all of that, would work out decently well on the timeline. And, if you care about the lore of the show, it would add a little bit to it. I know, like, taking the whole world's memory away basically is kind of insane, but the Kids Next Door do stuff like that all the time with decommissioning. I don't know, maybe there's some kind of giant thing they can activate that just sends out a wave out to decommission everybody, that at least remove like the last 24 hours, basically all the memory of the alien invasion, which you might think that would kind of cheapen the whole crossover because nobody would have any memory of them working together. But honestly, for the lore and for just the show's sake on everybody's part, I think it's better that it's just a one and done where they don't really reference anything. And the original crossover, one of the endings, that it shows when the aliens are on the moon, shows the Kids Next Door were in that universe, like the moon base was just in the background, and they just weren't even aware of anything happening. So I thought, use the Kids Next Door as the final piece of the puzzle for this, and I think it work decently well to tie everything together and to give all of the characters like a fighting chance against an alien invasion. And I've done some digging and found some other people that kind of had similar feelings to me, so it's nice that I'm not alone in that. But I just thought it was would have been a creative way to do it, is just to have another whole other episode, this time not a 22-minute episode like the rest of them. Do a whole 44 minutes. You put in as much action and story and character interactions that you can do, and still it's going to be compressed. But I mean, if you're gonna do the crossover and try to do it bigger, I thought that was a good compromise way to do it. But what I want to know now is, what do you guys think of the Invaded crossover after you watch this old review before this, and then my thoughts now, and then just after anything I brought up? Has your opinion on it changed? Do you like the crossover better or worse now that you're older? Do you like my rewrite? Do you like any of the ideas I had here to streamline it and try to make it a bit more of an epic event? Or, I don't know, am I full of shit? Just let me know what you think. And if you have ideas of how you would have done the crossover a bit differently, your own little rewrite, and leave it in the comments, and I'd be looking forward to reading it, just because internet's full of creative people. I want to see what you guys think of what was it missing, what would you have added to the crossover to make it better? Because I wasn't trying to do a radical recreation of the whole thing. I just wanted to add a little bit in the actual crossover that we got, and then just add a whole new final part just to bring it all together. But let me know what you think about everything and all your own thoughts about it. And I'm glad that you're here with me and that you watch this, and hopefully you enjoy it, and like and subscribe for more, and I hope to see you next time.
Although the threat of an alien invasion is real, it appears to be not quite so menacing as originally thought. Take a look at the latest surveillance footage.
Let's get back out there and do some righteous invading. What's the problem?
Door jam.
Again? Let me try.
I can do it.
Move over, Major Muscle.
I can do it.
Stand down, Glog.
You okay?
Why must every invasion be this way?
Be warned, the Mayday invasion is coming to Cartoon Network.